Terrence Howard just spilled some serious tea about the twisted stuff Diddy did to him. And Bryshere Gray too, but it doesn't even stop there. Apparently a bunch of other black men were getting used at Diddy's infamous parties like they were toys. So let's jump straight into this scandal. Terrence Howard recently sat down for an interview with PDB, and things started off pretty casual. But then Terrence started dropping bombs left and right. He wasn't just gossiping, he was letting out some real hurt, sounding exactly like your uncle at the family cookout after 2 shots of Henny. When asked about why so many celebrities end up messed up,
Philip, who knows what Heath had to do in order to get to where he was at. There's a lot of things that people...
Terrence went in hard, saying the industry doesn't care. It chews people up and spits them out. He didn't hold back about the pain and toxic situations creative folks have to deal with behind the scenes. But then Terrence really hit everyone with some raw emotion, the kind of deep hurt you can't just act out. He talked about seeing talented people completely lose themselves, chasing a small taste of fame. He even brought up legends like Philip Seymour Hoffman and Heath Ledger, actors who won awards alongside him, but suffered terribly behind the glittery Hollywood curtain just to get there.
Businesses, because I don't bend over in that way. I don't compromise. I don't play gay roles. I don't kiss a man. I don't do that because the man card means everything.
But then Terrence dropped a bombshell about dudes losing their man card, and he wasn't talking about some macho alpha nonsense. He meant something much darker. Out of nowhere, Terrence straight up mentioned Diddy. He revealed how some guys who went to Diddy's notorious parties never thought their dirt would come out, but now they're facing some serious consequences for those shady Diddy-sponsored antics. Then Terrence spilled a wild story. He said Diddy personally asked him to give him acting lessons. Terrence thought, cool, let me help this brother out. But when he pulled up to the spot, things took a weird turn real quick. No scripts, no cameras, nothing.
You're going through so much to try and deal with life. You are literally, it's an unhealthy space. And so eventually you're gonna go too far, you know?
Terrence realized something sketchy was definitely going on. He knew right away it wasn't about coaching, it was about something else completely. Now everyone's wondering, what exactly was Diddy planning? And why did Terrence feel like his whole manhood was on the line just being there? Whatever it was, Terrence clearly wasn't about to let Diddy play him or take his dignity like he allegedly did to others at those infamous parties. So picture this, Terrence shows up and Diddy's just sitting there watching him, staring. The whole room was giving off nothing but weird vibes, but it didn't stop there.
He invited me for weeks, asking me to come and teach him how to, wanted me to be his acting coach for a while. Go there and he's sitting around just looking. I'm like, okay, what's the material you want to work on? He's just looking at me. Then next thing you know, okay, hey, will you help me? I want to hear your music. So I come over there and I play the music. And he's sitting there, just looking at me, like waiting. Okay. So then my assistant was like, he wants to hang out with you next week. And I was like, for what? He's like, I think he's trying to That's what my assistant said. And I was like, oh, okay. Now I get it. So now no more communication. Now you know to be hands-off with somebody.
Another time, Diddy told Terrence he wanted to hear some of his music. But again, that off energy stayed the same. Then things got even more suspicious. Diddy's assistant hit Terrence up saying he should come back and hang out. But it wasn't just casual, because even Terrence's own assistant pulled him aside and said, I think Diddy might be trying to have some private relations with you. The moment Terrence heard that, it all clicked. All those strange stares, the off-putting invitations, everything made sense. And like any person with self-respect, Terrence cut ties. He stopped seeing Diddy immediately. Now say whatever you want, but that wasn't no acting lesson. That sounded more like some casting couch setup with champagne and smoke machines.
Sitting and they can't get over it. And they got to keep getting high, hoping to get it out of their head. But when you lose your man card, that's the only thing I can think of. You lose your damn man card.
What is that? What do you mean by that?
You give up your ability, your right to being a man. A man don't take it, a man gives it. So when you give up that man card.
Then came the real weight. Terrence made it clear he wasn't the only one they came for, but he was one of the few who had the backbone to say no. He exposed just how twisted some of these producers really are behind closed doors, saying he's not afraid to throw hands if anyone ever tried coming at him like that again. This wasn't just Hollywood politics, it was straight up creepy. And that decision, it cost Terrence everything. His whole career took a nosedive after that. Hollywood don't play nice when you say no to the wrong folks. Your phone stops ringing, the deals disappear, and suddenly you're blacklisted. But Terrence didn't back down, not even a little. He made it clear he ain't bound to nobody, and he's not taking roles that go against who he is just to keep a check coming in. He straight up said he refuses to play anything that makes him feel like he's giving up his man card.
I've never seen somebody recover from it. That was all the people that went to the puffy parties. That was all the people that did all those things thinking that there was never going to be a consequence for what they were doing. Got punked out and pimped out by some greater desire. You don't have a greater desire than being a man.
And for him, that's about standing firm on his values. No amount of fame is worth losing that. Now, yeah, this next part might stir the pot a bit. Everybody's got different takes on what roles actors should or shouldn't take, but Terrence wasn't being hateful. He was saying point blank that he's not down with anything that makes him feel fake or disrespected in his own skin. Nobody saw this coming from him. But honestly, in the world of Diddy drama, this ain't even the wildest thing we've heard lately. Terrence wasn't just telling his story. He said there were lots of young black men being used and tossed aside like disposable playthings at these private parties.
Coming to make the approach, and you threaten to punch them in the mouth, or threaten to knock their head off for talking to you like, or looking at you like you're a woman. You know, when you approach a real man about his masculinity, you're going to get a real reaction.
And one name that came up in all this mess, someone who's also been linked to Terrence before, Bryshere Gray. Terrence didn't drop Bryshere's name by accident. He knew exactly what he was doing. Word on the street is that Bryshere Gray, who once had a bright future ahead of him, also found himself tangled in the same shady scenes. People started whispering about how he got invited to those secret parties, and after that, his entire vibe shifted. Terrence didn't give full details, but the way he talked about it said everything. He hinted that Bryshere might have been pressured into situations he couldn't speak on. And just like Terrence, once he stopped playing along, things got dark, fast.
That came to me and begged me for my help. I told her to get away from Charlie. I did everything that I could do to help her get out of California into Chicago State to be ready for filming. She knew what Will did to him. But because of Charlie, see? And Charlie had promised her all kinds of things. And all she had to do was pretend to be a broken down single mom who worked her way up through the ghetto and raised a superstar for television, when the truth is she wasn't nothing but a dealer's whore.
Terrence made it clear. This ain't just about bad choices or falling off. It's about powerful men pulling strings, luring young talent in with promises of fame, and then flipping on them the second they say, "Nah, I'm good." That's when the roles dry up, the press turns on you, and your name starts getting dragged through the mud. And guess what? It's always the same type of men getting hit the hardest. Young black actors trying to protect their dignity in an industry that only sees them as entertainment, not as human beings. Terrence said he saw too much, and he's not keeping quiet no more. The dude who played Hakeem on Empire, Bryshere Gray, Terrence really tried to protect him. But by the time he stepped in, the system already had its grip tight. When you look at where Bryshere once stood, at the top of his game, and now, his career is completely in shambles, and rumors say he's doing adult content just to keep food on the table.
Having to do gay corn for bread, it's just sad.
It's just what's bothering me is that being a celebrity sometimes comes with, like, everybody wants to be successful in a celebrity and stuff like that, but it comes with, you know, sometimes, and, you know, that's the only thing that I hate about it.
It's heartbreaking. Jaguar Wright was one of the first people who blew the lid off Bryshere's whole situation. But she didn't just point fingers at Diddy, she dragged Will Smith into the mix too. Jaguar claimed what they did to Bryshere wasn't just shady, it was soul-snatching evil. She said they broke that young man down so bad, now they're making sure he never even has the strength to speak out. And if that wasn't already twisted enough, Jaguar went even further. She said the whole thing allegedly went down right in front of Jaden Smith and Justin Combs. She claimed they turned Bryshere into some kind of plaything. And the craziest part, Jaguar säger att hela den störande situationen var påstått upptagen på band. And now, according to her, they are trying everything to make sure that footage and Bryshere's voice never sees the light of day. Jaguar didn't stop there. She claimed that powerful people are working overtime to bury everything. The alleged tape, She said it's locked up so tight, it's like it doesn't even exist. And anyone who even thinks about talking gets shut down fast. That's why Bryshere's been so quiet. He's not just scared, he's being silenced. Terrence hinted at this too. He said once you've seen what really goes on behind those closed doors, you either play along or you disappear. And for the ones who try to fight back, they get labeled crazy, dangerous, or difficult to work with. Sound familiar? They strip away your career, your credibility, and isolate you until no one believes a word you say. That's why people like Terrence and Jaguar are speaking now, because too many voices have been muted for too long. This ain't just messy Hollywood gossip. This is about young black men being used up and tossed aside like trash, while the powerful keep partying behind the scenes like nothing ever happened.
I'ma kick you in your and then I'ma go to work North Philly style. And Charlie, you happy now? He's a gay star. Are you happy now, Andy? For a book that didn't sell.
And the craziest part, according to insiders, there's still more names involved, big names who haven't even been exposed yet. Word on the inside is those big names, they're sweating right now because the walls are closing in and folks are finally starting to talk. More victims are stepping up behind the scenes, quietly, cautiously, trying to figure out how to speak without risking their lives or their sanity. Terrence said it best. They don't just ruin your career, they come for everything, your peace, your mind, your soul. And the deeper you dig, the uglier it gets. There's rumors that what happened to Bryshere wasn't a one-time thing, it was part of a whole pattern, a system, a pipeline. People are now looking sideways at these so-called mentorships and opportunities handed out to young men in the industry because too often they come with twisted strings attached. And when someone like Bryshere ends up in the gutter, nobody asks how he got there. They just judge the result, not the setup. Terrence ain't out here chasing clout. He's tired, he's fed up, and he's calling it out, even if it means burning every bridge left in Hollywood. The way he sees it, if speaking up helps just one person avoid that trap, it's worth it. And behind the scenes, a lot of these so-called power players are praying their names don't come out next, because once that domino falls, it's game over. And the pressure, it's building. Industry folks are panicking, deleting pics, cleaning up social media, distancing themselves from Diddy and anyone else being named. But it's too late. The internet never forgets, and once the truth starts leaking, there's no stuffing it back in. Terrence didn't just expose bad behavior, he exposed a whole network that protects it, a circle where power covers for power, and young talent gets exploited in silence. He said some of these A-listers act like gatekeepers, pretending to help the next generation while leading them straight into darkness. Insiders say there are even NDAs floating around, contracts that were signed to keep certain nights, parties, and situations hidden forever.
See, they trying to sell him out so he'll feel too embarrassed to file his lawsuit against Diddy for what Will and Diddy did to him. With Jaden and Justin present that tape.
But people are starting to question how long those NDAs can hold up when real harm is involved. Some folks want justice, others want revenge. And through all this, Diddy's name keeps coming up again and again. The allegations are stacking, the stories are lining up, and now people are wondering, how deep does this actually go? One thing's for sure, Terrence isn't backing down. And with every interview, every confession, every name he hints at, he's cracking open a door that's been shut tight for years. The kind of door that once opened might bring the whole house of secrets crashing down. Jaguar wasn't playing at all. She was heated, furious, and she didn't hold back on anybody. Not Diddy, not Will Smith, and definitely not Bryshere Gray's mother, who she blasted for allegedly selling out her own son for a book deal that barely made a dent. Jaguar went in deep, saying Bryshere's mom didn't just fail to protect him, she handed him over. She claimed the mother allowed Will Smith to have his way with him and stood by while Bryshere's own manager, Charlie, allegedly pumped him full of nose candy to keep him numb and controllable. Jaguar described her as someone who sold her child to predators in exchange for a juicy storyline and a brand new man. It's disturbing, it's dark, and it's a story that sounds way too familiar in the industry. So what do you think? Was Diddy and Will really behind the fall of Bryshere Gray? Was this all part of something even bigger? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We want to hear everything you got to say. And if you're into stories like this, don't forget to hit that like button, smash that subscribe, and share this video with someone who needs to know the truth. Check out our next upload. It's just as wild, maybe even wilder. See you in the next video.